Erev Tov Rabotai, we are continuing with our Mishna Yomi, Masechet Yevamot. We are up to Perek Yudbet, Mishnah Bet. Today's Mishnayot should be Le'erun Nishmat, Neria ben Svetlana, Ranbai Eliyahu ben Burcha Israelo ben Chana bad Miriam, Menuchatam began Eden, Amen, and Le'avdi ben Chaim le'Chaim, with the Refuah Shelemav Daniel Shalom ben Rosa, and Mariana Miriam Chaya bat Tamara b'tor Sheh Chulei Israel. The Mishnah continues to discuss the laws of the Chalitza shoe. Chalitza b'sandal shelo shelo. If the Yevamot performed chalitza with a sandal, a shoe made of hardened leather that is not his, meaning it does not belong to the Yavam, or b'sandal shel etz, or with the sandal made of wood covered with leather, or b'shel small be'emin, or with the left shoe placed in the Yavam's right foot, chalitzata kshera, her chalitza is valid. This is because the Torah does not require the chalitza shoe belong to the Yavam. Although the Torah states in Sefer Devarim chapter 25 verse 9, and she shall remove his shoe from upon his foot, the sages interpreted this to mean that the shoe must not be too big or too small for his foot, but it does not have to be his. So again, the Torah does not require the chalitza shoe belong to the Avam, because a leather covered shoe is considered a leather shoe, even though the inside is wood. Now, this Mishnah follows the opinion that only a leather shoe may be used for chalitza, not a wooden one. Nevertheless, a wooden shoe with a leather covering is valid for chalitza, and because the left shoe worn on the right foot fits well enough to be valid for chalitza. The shoes of those days were not as tightly fitted as today's shoes, therefore it was possible to wear a left shoe on the right foot. Chalitza bigadol shu yachol le'alech bo. If she performed chalitza with a large shoe that was bigger than the Avam's foot, but he could still walk with it because it was not so big that it would slip off his foot, or bikatan shu chofet rov raglo, or with a small shoe that covered most of the Avam's foot. For example, there is an opening in the front of the shoe, and the front part of the Avam's foot sticks out through the opening, in which case he can walk with it, although it is difficult to do so. Chalitzata kshera, her chalitza is valid, because if the shoe is at all usable, it is valid for chalitza. But if the shoe is not usable, such as if it is so large that it falls off his foot, or it is too small to cover most of his foot, it is invalid. The Mishnah discusses whether chalitza may be done at night. Chalitza balayla, if she performed chalitza at night, chalitzata kshera, her chalitza is valid. This is based on Mishnah in Sanhedrin, chapter 4, Mishnah 1. Now, chalitza has monetary consequences because chalitza allows the Yevamot to collect her ktubah from her dead husband's estate. According to the Tana Kama, chalitza can be compared to the end of a monetary trial. When the judges hand down their decision, that decision can be made at night, as the Mishnah says in Sanhedrin, chapter 4, Mishnah 1. And similarly, as soon as the chalitza is performed, she is automatically entitled to her ktubah, and the matter is concluded. It can therefore be performed at night. The Rabbi Eliezer poser, but Rabbi Eliezer rules that it is invalid. Rabbi Eliezer compares chalitza to the beginning of a court case because she begins the process of collecting her ktubah by performing chalitza, therefore must be done by days in the case for monetary cases. Now, the Rav explains, V'alacha ki Rabbi Eliezer b'ma sheposel chalitza balayla. The halacha follows the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer when he invalidates chalitza performed at night. The Mishnah discusses whether chalitza may be performed by removing a shoe from the Yavam's left foot. Basmol, if the Yevamot performed chalitza with the shoe that is on the Yavam's left foot, chalitzata psula, her chalitza is invalid, because when the Torah says that the shoe must be removed from the Yavam's foot in Sefer Devarim chapter 25 verse 9, it is referring to the right foot. The Tana Kama derives this from a verse in Vayikra chapter 14 verse 25, in which the Torah discusses a certain procedure that was done to a mitzvah's foot and specifies that only the right foot is valid for this purpose. This serves as a model for the foot mentioned by the Torah in regard to chalitza, which therefore refers only to the right foot. Rabbi Eliezer machshir, but Rabbi Eliezer rules that the chalitza is valid because the Torah's reference to Yavam's foot includes even the left foot. Rabbi Eliezer holds that the laws of chalitza cannot be compared to the laws of mitzvah. So when the Torah mentions the Yavam's foot, it means any foot, even the left one. The Rav tells us that halakha does not follow Rabbi Eliezer when he validates chalitza performed on the Yavam's left foot. Rather, the halakha follows the Tana Kama that if the Yevamot performed chalitza with the shoe that is on the Yavam's left foot, her chalitza is invalid. And that is in Rabotai of Mishnah Bet. Now, as we learned in Mishnah 1, the chalitza ceremony has three parts: removing the Yavam's shoe, spitting in front of the Avam, and saying the required verses. We spoke about this in the introduction to Mishnah 1. This Mishnah, Mishnah Gimel, discusses the law of a chalitza that was performed without one of its three parts. Chalza v'rakeka, the Yevamot removed the shoe and spat in front of the Avam, avalo kara, but she did not say the verses that she must say. Chalitzata kshera, her chalitza is valid, although she is obligated to do all three parts of chalitza, including saying the verses. If she left out this part, the chalitza is still valid, and she is permitted to marry. Why? Because saying the verses is not essential for the validity of the chalitza, because the verse from which we learn which parts of chalitza are essential refers to actions, and saying the verses is not an action. Kara v'rakeka, if she said the verses and spat, avalo chalza, but she did not remove the shoe, chalitzata psula, her chalitza procedure is invalid, because the Torah teaches that removing the shoe is essential for the chalitza to be valid. Chalza v'kara, if she removed the shoe and recited, avalo rakeka, but she did not spit. Rabbi Eliezer says, chalitzata psula, her chalitza is invalid, because spitting is an action, and any part of the chalitza procedure that is an action is essential. Rabbi Akiva however, Rabbi Akiva says, chalitzata kshera, her chalitza is valid, because spitting is not an action that involves the Avam, and according to Rabbi Akiva, only actions involving the Avam are an essential part of chalitza. Now the Tanaim explained their opinions. Amar Rabbi Eliezer said, Kacha ya'aseh, the Torah states regarding chalitza in Sefer Devarim, chapter 25, verse 9, so shall be done. Kol davar shu ma'aseh me'akev, which implies that anything that is an action is essential for the chalitza to be valid. The word kacha, so, implies that what follows in the verse must be performed in order for the chalitza to be valid. So both the removal of the shoe and the spitting are essential to chalitza because they are actions. Saying the verses, though, is not essential since it is not an action. Amar lo Rabbi Akiva said to Rabbi Eliezer, Misham ra'aya, from there you bring a proof, Kacha ya'aseh la'ish. The verse you quote really says, so shall be done to the man, the Avam. Kol davar shu ma'aseh ba'ish, which implies only that anything that is an action involving the man, an action done to the Avam's body, is essential for chalitza. So removing the shoe from the Avam's foot is essential, but spitting, which is done in front of the Avam and not on his body, is not essential. The Torah does not require that the Avam's spittle touch the Avam. It only has to land in front of him. So Rabbi Akiva says that is the explanation for his opinion that if she removed the shoe and recited but did not spit, Rabbi Akiva said her chalitza is valid. And that is in Rabotai of today's Mishna Yomi. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen v'amen.